Hi, I'm Kara Pogreba. Welcome to Bright Hope Creations. Well, the birds have found a typewriter today, and so we're using You're My Type, Oh So Jelly Sentiments, Hey Summer, just the little birds, and Hey Winter, just the little trees, and the buffalo check. The dies we'll be using are the frame from the Snow Globe die set and the scallop frame from the Card Front Element Builder and holly from the Pocket Tag Christmas Characters. So I'm going to start by putting down my frame in order to figure out where I want that sentiment. And now that I did, I'm going to take some Distress ink, just the regular, this is Festive Berries, and stamp that on. But with distressed ink, it's always nice to have the opportunity to stamp it a couple of times. Now I'm going to take Versamark ink, which is a clear sticky ink, and stamp over that because I'm going to clear heat emboss that. So here's some Ranger clear embossing powder, and I will sprinkle that on the Merry Christmas, and then I'll take it off camera to heat it up and melt that. So now it's all nice and shiny, and it will protect the sentiment from what we're going to do later. So I want to figure out where to position my stamps, and so I'm using some Post-it note full sticky back notes. I stamp them on there and I fussy cut them because I'm also going to use those as masks. But you can see I wanted to make sure where those little birds' feet would be because I wanted them on top of a key on the typewriter, each of them. And so that's how I was able to get those on there. And because they are in front, they get stamped first, front first. So there they are. I'm going to use just some Memento Tuxedo black ink and stamp them up, and then I'll put the mask over them. Now they don't need their little feet because there's no reason to mask those because they're just lines. And now I can put the typewriter on and position it so that those little birds are standing on those keys. So I stamped that a couple of times, but I just showed you the one. And now I can take those little birds off. You can see there's a little bit of white space around, so I'll clean that up later. And now for the little sentiment. They are typing just a note to say Merry Christmas. And so once they have that all on there, I will put the typewriter mask over all of that, and then stamp out the trees. And again, I'm going to use that frame because that's how I'm deciding where things are going to go. And I will put my masks down for the trees so that I can decide where to put those stamps. So these birds found this typewriter in the snow. I don't know why, but they did. And it reminds me of a book that my kids had when they were little. I think it was called Click Clack Moo, Cows That Type. And apparently the cows in the barn found a typewriter and had a few things to tell the farmer. And so they typed them out, and then everybody else got involved. The chickens had issues, ducks had issues. So it was quite a cute book. But here we go. We have our little trees all stamped, and I'm masking them, putting the frame back up and positioning it because now I'm going to use it as a mask and the center part as a mask as well. I also have a little adhesive under that snow, and now I'm putting adhesive on the back of my panel because I'm going to not have magnets to stamp this down. I'm just going to use the adhesive instead to keep it in place. And so I press that down, and I'm using Versamark ink again because I'm going to clear heat emboss this. And first I want to get that powder tool out so that it doesn't stick anywhere it shouldn't, and then stamp that down, and then I can just use the whole back because I had that stamped down and now I have to get it up. And so I'm carefully getting that, but I'm very glad I have that center there where I can put my thumb and hold on to everything. Taking off the masks and the little bit of adhesive that I have there so that none of the powder sticks on that. And then I can take my clear embossing powder and sprinkle that on again. And I think you can kind of see where it is if the light's in just the right place. But I will melt that again off camera with my heat tool, and then it will really come to life when the ink blending begins. So just making sure I have everything covered, and I think it's all set, and it's time to put on that snow mask again. So I'm putting that on. You can see I still have masks over the typewriter and the trees, and I'm taking a life-changing blender brush and just ink blending. I'm starting off kind of careful because I wasn't sure how dark I wanted it, but by the end I'm going crazy. I wanted it red. I just didn't want it to hide the Merry Christmas sentiment, so I kind of kept it lighter there, and also in the middle of the scene I wanted it kind of to be lighter there as well. But you can see that buffalo check coming out there now, and also in the background above the snow. But the big reveal will be when that snowdrift and circle come out. I think if I was to do this again, I would put some kind of adhesive on that circle. I had to be really careful not to get under that. And so, I don't know, I was going every which way with my fingers and it got a little crazy. I think gave up at one point and had to go left-handed with that. So here I am trying with the right hand. Yeah. Okay, nope, there it is. Left-handed. I'm left-hand ink blending. That's new for me. All right, well, it worked. I got it in. I got the red showing. Not something I would care to do again. So it just didn't work as well for me. So I would actually tack down that whole circle with something like a temporary adhesive or I don't know, a sticky note of some sort. All right, so I'm going to wipe it off, and we can see that white shining through from the white cardstock. And once I have that all buffed away, it's just an old cloth, nothing fancy here. And now I can take off that mask, and it's pure white. So that's our white snow. Here are our trees and our birds on the typewriter. So I'm going to fix those little bits around the birds using a Copic multi-liner. This is a 0.1, and I'm just getting in to the areas so that where my mask went over, it won't show now. And now I'm going to color the birds, and I'm coloring them with an R35 and an R29 just to kind of match the Festive Berry Distress ink that I used for blending and also for that sentiment. And so these little birds are like no birds I have near my house. I have some beautiful cardinals. They are very red, and I have some finches that have a lot of red on them. But these guys need to be bright red so that they show up on the typewriter, and it can be kind of more of a simple look because, hey, it's not real. All right, so now for the typewriter, and that's going to be G40 and G43. I'll use the G43 for putting in some shadows. And I realized I was doing that on my glass mat and it never works as well. So I got it on some paper and it just, I don't know, the Copic marker seems to flow better for me when I have it a piece of paper underneath it. And it doesn't matter what kind of paper, but I think this black works well so that you can see what I'm doing and not distracted, because I make marks on these papers. So you don't need to see all those marks. All right, but now we're putting in the shadows, and I'm kind of putting some definition to where it would be rounded in the front there on the typewriter, and also kind of in the shadows in the back. And the keys are closer than the back of the typewriter, so I want that to be a little lighter and show that the back is further back with the dark shadow. All right, just blending it in with the G40, and our typewriter is taking shape. So I won't show you all the blending, but just show you I'm finishing up the blending here, and we'll move on to those trees. And the trees are going to be the same, G40 and G43. And I'm just doing some line coloring in the middle. I'm leaving some white as though it has snow on them. And then here's the G43. I'm going to go through and darken that all up. And then once that's done, I will just come back in and blend it out with that G40 again. Now I'm not going to do much shading here on the white, but I am going to put a little bit in. So this is a C0, just where the paper corners a little on the trunks and under the typewriter's feet and the typewriter itself. And then of course where that paper came out of the typewriter. And that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, all those little keys. So I wanted to get under each one so it looked like the stem that they are on is also a little further behind than the key itself. I don't even think that shows up, but that's what I was trying for. So this is a Signo white gel pen, and I'm putting in just a couple of lines to indicate that there are snow drifts there, just so that those trees didn't look like they were floating in the air. And then I cut it all out with the scallop frame, and I'm going to put on the holly next to the sentiment just to balance things out a little bit. Get the green down further, get some foliage down further, like I have the trees above. And so I'm just coloring those with that G40 and G43 as I did the other things, and blending that out, and then I'll come back in with that G43 again just to give the lines into the center of the holly. I love this holly. I think I've been putting it on everything this Christmas. It's just very versatile. And then here are the berries. And so I'm doing those in the same color as the birds, R35 and R29. And I'll have the shadow coming from the bottom left, but I'm going to shade it on the upper right and turn them because it's just easier for me to do that with my right hand because they're so small, and then blend it in. And then I also realized when I cut my panel down that I wanted to get those edges nice and bright again, so I'm coming back in with the festive berries. I did get a little into the white this time, but it's okay. I put it on a top folding 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch note card, and now I'm just putting the holly and those berries on. There's one berry and the other one. Well, I hope you enjoyed the card today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. and have a great day. Bye.